All Toy Story movies are amazing, but Toy Story 3 is a lot of people's favorite. Did you notice all the incredible hidden details in this movie? Contrary to what many people think, Sid's last appearance wasn't at the end of the first Toy Story. The rebellious kid who turned toys into victims of cruel experiments also appears in the third movie of the saga, only several years older. Not everyone noticed this because he only appears in a single scene. We see him when Woody is outside and a guy steps out of a garbage truck while listening to music. That man is wearing a black shirt with a skull on it, identical to Sid's classic outfit because he is actually Sid himself. Some of the secret characters that appear here aren't even from other Toy Story movies, but from other Pixar franchises. One of them is a little girl who appears at Sunnyside Daycare. It's hard to remember who she is just by looking at her, but the truth is that she looks exactly like a girl who appears in Up. And you can't even say it's a coincidence because in the scene from Up where this girl appears, we can see the Lotso bear in the corner of her bedroom. In other words, the two movies referenced each other. This is just the beginning of the 17 details and Easter eggs that nobody noticed in Toy Story 3. That's right, another Cinewave is coming for you to enjoy. The appearance of the girl from Up in the toy movie is one of the reasons why many fans believe that all Pixar movies exist within the same shared universe. But there are many other clues pointing to that in Toy Story 3, such as some toys that appear at Sunnyside, in the Caterpillar room. Those toys, seen underneath a shelf, are the characters from Tin Toy, a Pixar short film released in 1988, years before Toy Story came out. Since both stories are about toys, it becomes even easier to believe that they take place in the same universe. Will the characters from Tin Toy ever become important characters in a future Toy Story movie? Don't think Pixar only pays tribute to its own productions. They also love referencing other famous animated movies. In Bonnie's room, we can see a very cute stuffed animal that looks exactly like Totoro. In case you're not familiar with him, he's the main character from My Neighbor Totoro, an animated film by Studio Ghibli, a Japanese studio that has created several masterpieces and is highly respected within the animation industry. So it makes perfect sense that Pixar's animators decided to pay tribute to Totoro. You can be sure this wasn't the only time this tribute happened, and it's very likely that Studio Ghibli will continue being honored in the future, since it's the reason many people working in the industry first decided to study animation. Besides the Easter eggs, there are also details in Toy Story 3 that are connected to the franchise's story. The ending of the movie fits perfectly into this, since Toy Story 3 concludes with a scene showing clouds in the sky. It may seem like just a beautiful way to end the story, but it's much more than that. If we go back to the beginning of the first movie, we'll see that it starts with clouds as well. The difference is that in that case, the clouds were fake and part of Andy's bedroom wallpaper, while the clouds seen at the end of Toy Story 3 are real. This is a great way of showing that Andy's childhood is over and that he no longer lives in a world of imagination, but in the real world instead. It's amazing how a movie's message can be told through small details like this. This beautiful ending happens right after one of the most emotional scenes in the entire franchise, when Andy goes to donate his toys to Bonnie. Before leaving, he plays with his toys one last time and even puts Woody on his back, and that's where the detail comes in. Andy also did this in the first movie when he was still a little kid. It's heartbreaking that he remembers doing this after growing up, but it's also incredibly sweet because it means he treasured every moment he spent playing with Woody and his other toys. If you also love finding details in Toy Story and other Pixar movies, how about leaving a comment below with #Pixar? Going back to another Easter egg connected to other Pixar movies, we have that moment when Lotso ordered his henchmen to open Buzz Lightyear up and reset him. During that scene, we got a chance to see his batteries, but imagine our surprise when we realized that the batteries powering Buzz are made by and Large. That's the company responsible for polluting the planet in WALL-E, to the point of making Earth impossible to live on, and forcing humans to leave and live aboard giant spaceships. It's kinda creepy to know that Andy's family buys products from that company. They have no idea it's only a matter of time before Earth falls into ruin because of it. At the beginning of the movie, there's a scene inside Andy's imagination where his toys are living through an epic Wild West adventure. Woody tries to stop Mr. Potato Head from robbing a train, but what very few people notice is that the number 95 is written on that train. That's a reference to the year the first Toy Story was released, 1995. It was also the year Pixar revolutionized the animation industry, proving that 3D movies were the future. It's crazy to think about how much has changed since then, isn't it? Nowadays, it's practically the rule that every animated movie released in theaters has to be in 3D, with only a few exceptions. Meanwhile, in Andy's room, we can find lots of stickers on the walls and on the door. One of those stickers located on the door is difficult to notice, but anyone paying close attention and blessed with really good eyesight will spot that it's the logo of the company from Monsters, Inc. Why is that logo in Andy's room? Could he have encountered the monster world as a child just like Boo, the little girl from Monsters, Inc.? That would be pretty shocking. Imagine if Woody managed to hide the secret of living toys from Andy all those years, only for the kid to have already met monsters. If Andy was able to handle that discovery, he probably wouldn't be nearly as shocked to learn that his toys are alive. A lot of toys appear in the scene where Andy's toys arrive at Sunnyside, and Lotso introduces himself to them, so it was obvious there would be an Easter egg hidden somewhere. And in this case, the reference is the Stingray toy hidden among the crowd. That toy looks exactly like Mr. Ray, a character from Finding Nemo. It's always a challenge trying to guess which Disney or Pixar movie will be referenced next, right? And the craziest part is that the reference could be any character. In fact, another toy we see at Sunnyside is this type of Easter egg as well. This time, however, it's a character from the Cars franchise, Red. Cars is a franchise whose characters fit perfectly as Toy Story references, since there are toy cars everywhere. But honestly, who would have guessed that Red, of all characters, would show up here? If you say you predicted that, we're probably going to have to doubt you, but if it's true, we'll have to congratulate you and ask you to tell us next week's winning lottery numbers. Bonnie's backpack is really cute, but something very few people notice is the bee design on it. And the irony is that this overlooked detail is also an Easter egg, paying tribute to the very first short film Pixar ever made, The Adventures of Andre and Wally B, released in 1984, back when Pixar was still called the Graphics Group. One of the main characters in that production is a bee that looks exactly like the one drawn on Bonnie's backpack. This shows that even after Pixar became one of the biggest animation studios in the world, its employees never forget the studio's roots. After all, Pixar never would have reached the level it's at today, creating incredible Toy Story movies and many other successful animated films, if it hadn't first produced projects like The Adventures of Andre and Wally B. Subscribing is quick, easy, and keeps you updated with everything happening here. Let's go? Another tribute like this appears in the scene where Ken tries on several different outfits for Barbie to see. But this tribute is even cooler, and you'll understand why. See that cap sitting among all the clothes in the wardrobe? It's not just any cap, but before you start guessing, it doesn't belong to any movie character either. In reality, that's Michael Arndt's cap, the screenwriter of Toy Story 3. He's known for almost always wearing it, so the cap became so iconic that the animators included it in the movie as a tribute to Michael Arndt, which is pretty awesome. He left his mark on the film forever, or rather, his cap left its mark. Many productions are referenced throughout Pixar movies, but not all of those references are aimed at children's films. When Woody ends up at Bonnie's house and starts searching on a computer to figure out how to get to Sunnyside, we can see the number 237 on the computer screen, and that number is definitely not random. As a matter of fact, that's the number of the famous room from The Shining, a 1980 horror and suspense film that became a major pop culture classic. Room 237 is cursed and plays a huge role in the events of that movie. It's surprising that Toy Story 3 referenced a movie that kids aren't even allowed to watch. Want to hear the craziest part? That wasn't even the only time the number 237 appeared in the movie. The license plate on Sid's garbage truck reads 237, making the reference even more obvious because it's short for Room 237. That confirms that this number showing up in the movie is definitely not a coincidence. It's actually funny that this number appears specifically on Sid's garbage truck. Room 237 drives people insane, while Sid almost lost his mind at the end of the first Toy Story when the toys joined forces to threaten him. Let's hope he didn't actually go crazy, right? Since we're talking about numbers, how about discussing the number 86 that we can spot in Andy's room? This Easter egg is similar to the train one, which references Toy Story's release year. In this case, however, the number 86 refers to 1986, the year Pixar was founded, since before that it was known as the Graphics Group. Finally, still in Andy's room, there's a sign with the word cutting written on it. This time, the reference is to Pixar's former headquarters address on West Cutting Boulevard, located in Richmond, a city in California. Yet another detail that very few people noticed, mainly because not everyone knows all the different places Pixar has used as its headquarters over the years. Before you go, take a look at the two videos on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!